So, this is The Witcher RPG. I have people in chat. Oh my god, not all of them are us.
Yeah, they're probably all bots other than us, but...
Fair enough. So, after last week, where my hopes for great heroic characters were dashed when people decided to create weedy little sneak thieves and burglars.
I don't know what your problem is. I'm not a weedy little sneak thief burglar. I'm
that's
a perfectly reputable and innocent individual who never does anything wrong, but not a warrior.
Just having a quick glance down here. So, sleight of hand.
Yeah.
This is on Hamus. This is on the
I
perfectly reasonable.
may not be a warrior by the standards of my people, but given that my people are the Skellige, that means that I can kick any of you lot's ass.
Excellent. A Glaswegian on holiday. Right.
And now I have thunder in my head, thank you.
Yes. Laying down in
No, I know to rewrite that as Skeleton on Skeleton
Yes.
on holiday, definitely.
I can give you the place names if you want. Whee! Never catch the graphics by accident. Right, so we are...
Hello to
Yes.
anybody who may be watching or who may see this on VOD after the fact.
God help you and all who sail in you.
Indeed.
So, the characters we are going to be dealing with this evening, not making any implications as to how long they may last. Hey, when the game itself is giving you advice in how to get new characters in quickly because it expects a death toll, that's slightly south of paranoia.
Yes, and then when the game character creation system doesn't give you the parts for that mechanism...
Yeah. It's fine. You just...
I still ignored it all, I still created a weedy character.
Yes. So...
I've actually got, I think actually it works out at above average body.
What body did you end up
I
with?
think
Yeah.
4 was average.
3 to 4's average.
Yeah, so I'm actually, my weedy character is weedy only by Skellige standards. He's kind of not actually beefy, but reasonably sturdy by anyone else's standards.
Yes.
Compared to peasants, obviously, not compared to knights.
Yeah, 1 to 2 is kind of sickly peasant
Right,
begging in the street, getting their bum kicked by rabid dogs.
One thing you do have to remember with based on the interlock system is that they're not a straight linear progression on stats. There are less points below average than there are available above average. It's not like D&D, for example, where 9 to 11 is average and you've got the same number of points available underneath it going down to 3 as you've got above it going up to 18. In this, if you want to slight your character, you very quickly run out of places to go because it's designed for people who are average and above. Your weak stats will be average.
Yeah.
I've got 1 stat at average.
Good point. Yes, characters are inherently created. I'm not going to say heroic, because this game doesn't do heroes.
Heroic doesn't... If you take the meaning of heroic, that does not mean good guy.
Yeah.
But that simply means exceptional individual. A protagonist of some power. Then that's what you get in this game.
Yeah.
But protagonist might be the better term when dealing with these two.
Yeah. So yes, basically, in a game where the world wants you dead, is going to hell in a handbasket, and the evil empire is invading from the south, somewhere down the line that we ended up with one person from said the evil empire.
You don't know the power of the Nilfgaard.
Who's staging a one-man invasion to where there's anything valuable and liberating it in the name of him. And a rogue Skellige kid who grew up on a farm, decided raiding on warships was not for him.
Well, no, really, he decided that being on a farm was not for him. He sodded off from the farm.
He sodded off from the farm, avoided all the raider ships, and
But
ended
he then
up on the
also decided raiding
merchantman.
on warships wasn't really for him as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and ended up legging it from a merchant vessel.
Yeah.
Because presumably that was too high stress an environment.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you ask Hamus, he'll probably tell you that the reason he jumped ship at that point was because there's some possibility that the daft bastard might have gone back to Skellige.
Traders tend to. They tend to go to places, buy shit, and then come back. Or more importantly,
him visiting
sell
to
shit.
pick me up and bring me over here was a good thing. Him going back again with me still on board, not so much.
Blanket apology for accents, by the way.
Well, but this is a Skellige accent, you see. If it was an Irish accent, I'd have to apologise for it because it would be terrible.
True.
But as a Skellige accent, it's perfectly acceptable. Yeah, proof otherwise, I dare you.
Yeah, I'm willing to queue up any number of YouTube clips proving your point there, to be
I'm
honest.
sorry, but unless those YouTube clips have been specifically approved by, is it Andrei Sapkowski, as being what Skelligers sound like, CDPR got it wrong, not me.
Oh no, I was backing you up on how terrible the Skelligan accents are. Or how unique the Skelligan accents are.
Yes.
Yes, they tend towards Irish or Scottish depending on which the actor is.
Yeah.
Which is not a complaint. I do love this game. I love the Witch games, all told, which we will be able to tell. Right. So basically, you have started from you and your home in Mecht. And I'm not even taking a run up at correct pronunciation on that. And have progressed
Kind
to...
of game where they really should have put a pronunciation guide into the book.
Yes. Let's
That would have
give
been
you the map of the
The
world.
continent.
The continent.
Originally named...
Yes. So they started... Pardon me.
I just love the idea there's a place here called Sodden.
Yes.
That is brilliant.
Is it rain?
Yes.
I think that's England.
Sodden was the location of a huge sorceress battle. Don't mess. Mind you, everywhere has been the source of a
based
battle.
on what I have seen elsewhere, those pencil shavings to the west of Brocculon and Verdun are the Skellige Isles.
Hang on.
Because they're near Kintra, or Sintra,
Yeah.
whichever that's pronounced best.
I've always gone with
And-
Sintra.
And I know that the dead king of Skellige was also king of Sintra,
Yes.
so logically those must be the Skellige Isles.
Yes. Which makes that Sidaris next to Temeria.
Sidaris is labelled Sidaris just
I know.
above Brocculon.
Yes.
Yes. But it's Sidaris, not Kidaris.
Oh, yeah, I suppose to Kidaris, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. I tend to go with Sintra because, if nothing else, Ciri is the lioness of
Because-
Sintra.
Oh, well, in that case, yes, if she's called Ciri, then logically the country must be called Sintra.
Yeah. Otherwise, we are slightly tripping over the font. So, if anything is not particularly clear on the map, do yell.
There is a different map, which I have exported from the PDF.
All right.
Except that I haven't, obviously, because it's probably illegal, but I have done anyway. Which is, I think, a GM's map, possibly, because it's got a load of information on it, whereas the one that we're
Right.
looking at
What
now,
page
the
is it
120,
on the PDF?
I can't remember what page it bloody was. It's in the chapter that details all of the kingdoms, because I
Yeah.
found it because I was reading up on Skellige.
Fair enough.
So it's somewhere from page 178 onwards in that chapter there.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can locate exactly where it is.
Oh, gotcha. The Northern King. Oh, those are the Northern
There we
Kingdoms.
go. 181, the Northern Kingdom. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not the whole continent, but it's the bit we're going to be actually in. And yeah, looking at it, those pencil
No,
shapings
no,
are
it
indeed. I
isn't.
can see a d-ig, which that would be Ard
Yeah.
Skellig.
No,
presumably.
no, you're not in there.
No, we're not. are we?
No, you're off the bottom of the map, just below where the boat is.
Okay, I'd assumed that we would be up
The-
around there.
Well,
somewhere,
if it
but
was,
we're
nobody would be able
not.
to understand a word you're saying at the moment.
I thought we dealt with that.
Kinda. We did.
Yeah, I've got +4 in common speech. That means that I can, can question ask good.
Okay. Well, in that case, yeah, since I
can-
do have the
I can,
more
with great
details.
confidence, go into a tavern with my companion and order from the bartender. I can say, "Drink, my friend."
You could say that.
Martin is not a vampire. We'll be fine with that.
Yeah, vampires do exist in this setting.
I know. That's
Yeah,
the
but-
problem.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I've watched that fight from Witcher 3.
I've watched Ness do that fight.
Many times, and
Yes.
one of them.
I like the fact that you think it's just the one fight. It was the playing Sherlock Holmes that got me.
It was that fight, the one
Yeah.
I was thinking about.
Yes.
The fight. That fight had capital letters.
Yes, the fight that I haven't done yet, so shush.
That would be the one. I forgot you hadn't done that yet.
Yes, I've
Okay.
strung out blood and wine to a ridiculous extent.
When you do that fight, you will stream it, or there will be trouble.
You nearly cost me a kiwi. Get
We
features.
got to watch Ness go through it. We're going to watch you do it.
Right.
We'd like to watch you do more of the game generally, actually.
Well, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so at the moment you are in Geso. So I don't have a map for it, but I do have a write-up for it. The Barony of Geso. Seeing the inevitable coming, the Barony of Geso surrendered to Nilfgaard, at least temporarily.
It does, however, sound like Father Ted's housekeeper talking about someone's sexual preferences.
Yeah. You're basically in the barony immediately north of Mecht.
Yeah.
Would you like to know where what Mecht is like, Knight, since you came
yes,
from there?
since I've come from there, it would be helpful, yes.
Yes, that's a good point. I read up on Skellige, but you don't have the book to read up
Yeah.
on your place.
Most people in Mecht live in the western forests and along the rivers. Despite the rockety?
Oh, it's rockety. It's
Oh,
definitely rockety.
I think my language is rockety. Yay! Gotta get this done in one session. You might actually hit
Were we ever intending to?
No. Well, hoping to, yes. Expecting to, no. It's got half a page of plot fish, and you know how my plots expand out.
Half a page of plot for you?
Yeah.
Oh, God, we're going to be here all year.
Despite the rocky and forbidding Tir mountains in the east, some traders established lucrative relations there with some of the last gnomish cities deep in the Tir mountains for exquisite artistic and mechanical crafts.
Now,
I
that
recall-
one, just interrupting for a second, that one I would have said was hard. I would have said that was CH as in, like, lock. Possibly.
Tochair.
Yeah, I would have said Tokair.
Tochair. Yeah, it could be. Great, now all the gnomes are Scottish. Thanks for that. Gnomes are now officially Scottish.
Yay!
If it helps with the pronunciations, go for it.
Dwarves kind of are, but again, it's down to who's playing them. They're kind of Yorkshire Scots-ish.
I was going to say, I know that obviously it was done very differently in the audiobooks to the video games. But I was listening to the second of the audiobooks to put me in a witchy mood before we started. And the guy who reads them, he very much goes with Northerners for the dwarves.
Yeah.
Which I don't have a problem with. I think dwarves sound perfectly good like that. I reckon all dwarves can fire 4 shots a minute in any weather.
Do they wear green?
Do now.
Probably.
2 years after the absorption of Ebbing, which I love that's also a place, the usurpator, thank you for that word, realised he couldn't press further north with Macht at his back. The battle was short. The usurpator settled a puppet king on Macht's throne. The gnomes withdrew into their mountain holds to avoid being captured by Nilfgaard and forced to churn out Nilfgaardian weapons and armour. When the usurpator was overthrown, the king was summoned to Nilfgaard for a private talk with Emir var Emrys. He has been very careful to toe the Nilfgaardian line since then. There are 3 underground resistance movements. If they ever work together, they might cause trouble. We've got the People's Republic of Mecht, the Free Republic of the People's Association of Mecht. The different one I need to come up with is probably one guy that they're going to yell splitter at. So yeah, basically Mecht is...
Is it the People's Republic and the Republic of the People?
Yeah.
Fucking Republic of the People? Piss off! We're the People's Republic!
Basically, yeah, Mecht is a bit knackered. However, if I recall correctly, Knight, your character, one of his early life events was that he visited a non-human artisan. Now,
Yes.
you have a bunch...
No, not a non-human artisan. Early life events. A witcher owes me a favour.
No, okay.
I think the non-human as artisan might have been fish. Oh no, I've got a male craftsman a little bit later on in life.
Yep.
I had a
the
romance
Everlands.
with a non-human, but I was 9 at the time, so I don't know how
Yeah.
serious you can really count it.
So yeah, the
It
second
was
of my
still the start of the lot that caused me to leave my home because my elder siblings both wanted to kill me.
Yeah, but they've met you.
Oh, charming.
If you wanted to use a gnome instead of the rather more obvious dwarf, then Mecht would be an ideal place to do that. Travel into the mountains, meet gnomes, steal their stuff, migrate north.
That's the idea, you know, coming from a place full of gnomes and knowing a gnome, I don't know where do you get that idea from.
So yeah, basically you've migrated away from Mecht. You could say that the town got a little small for you. You could also say that ever since you encountered Hamus hopping off his riverboat, basically people started noticing you. And when people start noticing you and things going missing, it's a good time to leave town.
yes.
You
have headed north, but
I must say, it did take a while to get used to a place where I couldn't see the sea.
yeah, this is why you're sticking with rivers. At least it's water.
Yeah, I mean, back home, literally, whatever direction I looked in, I could see the sea.
Fair enough. So you have headed north. You've only gone a little way so far. Future scenarios will probably be set further up towards the Northern Kingdoms. But I thought I'd give you just a step away first. In the Barony of Gay.
Past scenarios are not an indication of future performance. Scenarios may go north as well as south.
Yes. This scenario is already going south. Seeing the inevitable coming, the Baron of Gay surrendered to Nilfgaard, at least temporarily. When the small force arrived for occupation, the Baron thought he could dictate terms to the army. Right. The town of Gliswyn, or White River, Gliswyn as the Nilfgaardian colonists who moved into the remnants of the town after it was re-educated, called it. All that was left was 10 huts, part of a palisade and an inn.
Is this the kind of re-education that happened at Blaviken?
Ish, yeah. By rather more people, obviously.
Okay.
One of the alternate titles for Geralt of Rivia is the Butcher of Blaviken, which is a really good example of what happens when an argument goes bad. The whole thing is a misunderstanding. An embarrassing one that means he's banned from the town and basically killed half of it. The populace is now afraid of Nilfgaardians, so the tasks the government might be responsible for have been taken over by feuding petty nobles and bandit kings. The roads are not safe in Geso. Bandits and slavers roam freely, especially on what used to be called the Velda Road, after the river it runs along, dividing Geso from Mecht. It's now called the Bandits Road. Should you wish to
Cue
go inland,
opening scene of our protagonists sitting tied up next to a campfire surrounded by bandits, with Amos saying, "Now, I'm not from around here. I've got an excuse. Why the bloody hell are we here?"
yes, you passed over what used to be called the Velda Road, and rather than detouring up to the town of Laredo, which is also known as the Bandits' Lair, so truth in advertising there, you've decided to push on north and take advantage of the chaos and petty feuding while you can. But also...
I mean, very hard not to think about how much money it sounds like you could make in a place called the Bandits' Lair.
Well, how much blood you could lose in a place called the
Well,
Bandits'
that's
Lair.
the downside, isn't it? It sounds very profitable, provided you can get in and out.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
It would take some planning.
in the Bandits' Lair, all manner of folk from farmers to slavers can rest, resupply and trade their booty.
See what I mean? Booty.
Yes.
There's a lot of booty there.
Yes. Thing is,
Who doesn't like a bit of booty?
it's owned by people who quite like to keep it and mostly own sharp
They
things.
don't want to keep it. It said they're trading it. They're getting rid of it. That's the point.
I like the official sort of conclusion for the area, which is I have not been able to find one single reason why one might want to go to Geso.
Then you didn't read your own bit, because it's right there, the word booty. It's just there.
Booty to loot. Right. Well, that's another name again. So, you have...
It's the femme fatale, that one.
Yeah. You have passed into... Yes, I was carefully not mentioning the alternate version of booty, because now it's just no. You have passed north of Gliswyn to the town of Gallaswine, which is invented and is further north. Basically, you're passing through, getting what you can from Geso, and then headed somewhere slightly more stable. At least until...
Absolutely anywhere.
By which I mean absolutely anywhere. Exactly. So, the weather is not good as you enter town. You've had a perpetual drizzle for the last day and a half, some of which you spent hiding in a ditch when a couple of parties of bandits rode past, looking for new recruits for lucrative field work, is the impression you got.
Mm-hmm.
At least it was, judging by the small cart containing nothing but a large cage and a couple of depressed-looking teenagers.
Amos is feeling slightly smug because of his cold weather clothing that I specifically bought him. Still slightly ragged, because he wears ragged clothing.
Yeah.
It's slightly ragged and has some embroidery on it, though not as much as the basic tunic and so forth that he has underneath. But he does at least have, kind of like a hood at the very least.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So he's not as sodden and other places on the map.
No soddens well to the north.
God.
Hey, the place that brought you Oxenfurt, the university.
I love Oxenfurt University. I think that's a brilliant, brilliant one.
It's good.
I'd be slightly more worried if it was Oxenfree University.
I've only ever been there when it's completely knackered, though. I keep turning up and there's like dead students in the streets, and it's a bit, oh, okay.
No, that's just what it's like all the time. It is a student town.
Yeah, true. I see, not dead, just dead drunk.
That's the one.
Or in a tavern playing Gwent. It is the best
Shit.
place I've found to get a haircut, because there's barbers every 3 seconds.
Okay.
Bizarre.
I'll admit, I personally don't really associate students and haircuts, but
Well, it's fashionable. You've got to have just the right level of scraggy beard. It's the scraggy dolls. Scraggy dolls. Sorry. Right. So yes, as you head into town, the sky is refusing to either open properly or give it up and let some sun out. It's not particularly cold though. You are perfectly happy, Hamus, because you've got the cold weather gear, and besides, frankly, this isn't cold.
I,
No,
however,
but
am rather itching to
delicate
get into a
balance.
building with a fire to warm up and dry off.
Okay.
Find ourselves a tavern.
It is not the largest of towns. A tributary, a little more than a stream at points, but broadening out on occasion to somewhere that actually requires a small bridge to cross it, runs along the side and presumably down to the Verdun Road. Or the Velder even. Verdun being something else altogether. There's another place that's full of wet. And
Just so long as we're not in a bloody swamp.
you're not in a swamp. You are definitely not in a swamp. There are a few actual market stalls. Honest to God stalls. Providing food and wherewithal.
Poke at the market stalls on our way in, and look for one that sells something that looks reasonably edible.
Okay. There are some halfway reasonable, poor ranges but decent qualities, or decent quantities rather.
Like it might be hot. Is anybody selling anything hot?
Yes. There is a woman, there is a chubby woman, who is stirring a pot which looks unfeasibly large to serve one day worth. You get the feeling this is probably just topped up.
Yeah, that's fairly standard for this kind of thing. As long as it isn't pottage.
Well, define pottage, really.
But I get, from the way you described it just now, it sounds like this is less solid than pottage. But otherwise has the same infinite pot.
Yep. Yep. You get a distinct scent of strong spices coming from it.
What time of day is it?
It's mid-afternoon. I hate to have to tell you.
Right.
You spent, as I said, you spent the morning largely in a ditch, and then slogged your way north over slightly muddy roads.
Good afternoon to you, mistress. What is it you've got in the pot there?
Stew.
Stew, you say?
Stew.
And how much would 2 bowls of hot stew set back a couple of weary travellers?
Weary travellers, huh?
And wet.
If it costs more for weary travellers, then we're not.
What is Dagrid wearing?
Fairly sort of roguish clothing, sort of tatty.
So nothing overtly, I am a knight of Nilfgaard.
No.
Right.
No, travelling with that.
They're both wearing slightly tatty clothing.
It'd be ruined in moments.
True.
Besides, they don't like the Nilfgaard around here.
They
Right
don't.
now, they probably look like what they are. A couple of slightly down at heels, but remarkably well off considering it.
You don't talk about
Travellers.
that.
Fair enough. Okay. Because I don't have the price list up in front of me, because I'm an idiot, she will name a fairly reasonable price. It is priced in Nilfgaardian crowns. But you notice a chalkboard just behind her head, where she has scribbled in, or somebody has, a rough conversion rate. You get the feeling that she'll accept any cash.
What am I most likely to be carrying?
You're coming from Nilfgaard, you're most likely to have crowns.
That's fine then, yeah.
You would have converted your money to crowns. And as the armies push north, it's more
I'm
likely that
assuming that
crowns
my
are going
money
to
was
become...
made in Nilfgaard, because I don't imagine there was much to steal on the farm. And unless I picked up a few bits and pieces off the ship on my way over, which is possible.
Which is possible, let's face it, it's The Witcher. You wander around in every single barrel,
Yeah, if it isn't nailed down.
container. Exactly, dear.
Okay.
But yes, I will give you exact prices later. But yeah, it's reasonable, and she will grab a couple of ceramic unglazed bowls and dump out a scoop and a half into each. Bread's extra.
Oh, well, I think we'll take the extra. It's
Good choice. It
been a
is.
particularly bad day for travelling.
Are there any good days for travelling?
Oh, when the sun's shining, you know, and it's not pissing on your head.
Best to stay put, I've found. Safer that way. You know, you've got the weight of people around you to protect you, and
I can tell you never met my family.
where are you from?
Oh, a long ways from here. A long ways from here.
Everywhere's a long ways from here, including her accent, which has changed about 6 times in the last 2 sentences, which I do apologise.
Let's just say that if there's a bright centre to the world, I'm from the town that's farthest from it.
Fair enough.
Well, you kind of asked for that one.
I did. I really did. I put in a special request for that one. Absolutely. Cracked jaw. Disfiguring scar. Sorry.
Is this what you're planning to do to us, or just randomly
I'm just
reading?
looking at the damage tables.
A simple meal apparently costs 10 crowns.
Okay.
I don't know whether this even qualifies as a simple
This
meal.
doesn't. That'll be roughly what you pay for both. It's enough to get you through a few hours, but it's not really designed for you to live on. For...
Like an extra crown each for
Yeah.
a hunk of bread.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I will pay for both sets, and then I will get out an extra 3 crowns.
Okay.
To 15. There's a little more shiny here. If you can recommend us a good place to sleep.
Well, there's the smoking horse, which is that building over there, the 2-story one, with the porch out front, and the 3 lads sitting on the step.
Bear in mind that when I say we want to sleep, we'd like to wake up again as well. That's okay, right?
That's what the 3 lads are there for.
I should look
The
over
3 lads I was worrying about.
Do they look particularly useful?
To be honest, they have that whole would be sitting around eyeing up how good your car security was. Modern day, but they look like they know which end of a knife is which.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a couple of louts in the area, you may as well put them to use.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because if they're earning coin off of you, they're not trying to rob you blind.
Bingo.
Well, I shall hand over the 15 crowns then in total and thank her.
Okay.
I assume that we're stuck here until we've eaten our stew because she's not going to let us wander off with her bowl.
No.
Oh, yeah.
This is the thing. A couple of other people come past, looking, traditional downtrodden worker types, who eye you up with a certain degree of jealousy on the grounds that you're not quite as covered in shit as they are.
Must be a king.
Yeah. And as a result, they, at least one of them, pulls out a leather bowl which collapses down, and she then fills it. And he wanders off munching with a spoon he pulls out of his pouch. So, it's clearly a thing.
Thing there. We should consider getting a couple of them.
Yeah.
What, the collapsing spoons?
Collapsing bowls.
Yeah, collapsing
Yeah.
bowls, sorry, not collapsing spoons.
Yeah.
You meant to say collapsing spoons. Right, yep. Okay, so let's move Dagwood's character sheet slightly further onto the thing. Basically, if you're looking at the map, they're kind of there.
That was very specific, thank you.
Yeah. They're pretty much there. Basically,
Kind of there, she says. Pinging over an area twice the size of Geisa.
yes, but you have to look for the centre of the ping. Basically, where the River Velda has I keep wanting to call it the River Velma, but then I'd need to put in the River Scooby.
Sounds like a quest element, doesn't it? Seek the centre of the ping.
Yes. Yes, you're headed north through Geso towards Matina, probably. Is your best bet. Or if you want to go to the coast, Ebbing and then Matina. Either way, you're heading largely for soggy bits for a while. Until you hit the pretty again.
I think my bits are pretty sogging already.
Yeah.
Oh no, Southern's further around the coast.
Yes. It's not necessarily always like this. It's just at the moment you've hit some crap weather.
Well, don't you worry about it. Get yourself outside that and we'll dry off in the... what was it called again?
The Smoking Horse.
The Smoking Horse.
Yep.
Now, that's a name with a tail behind it. If I heard one.
Right. The tale is told... And by the way, the stew is stew. There is barley in it. You think there's also... I'm fairly sure there's some actual meat in there.
I'm really surprised if I find some.
No, you're reasonably sure what you're eating is hair.
Oh, lovely.
That's hair as in boingy, 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 not hair as in, chop.
If I can find a chunk of meat somewhere in there, I'll peel a bit off and feed it to Ratty.
Yep. Ratty will eat it, thus indicating that...
It will otherwise presumably be hiding underneath my hood away from the grotty weather, and in the way that rats do.
Yes, so what, periodically scaring the life out of you by sneaking round and sneezing in your ear?
That's the sort of thing, yes. Every now and then a nose will appear rather disconcertingly for whoever I'm talking to.
Yes. And throttle you with its tail.
Indeed.
Right. Yep, Ratty will devour the little bit of meat you give him quite happily, thus proving that rats have no cannibalism taboos at all.
Absolutely not, yep.
I think you just said it was hair, not rat.
Hey, sounds... That's what it tasted like.
Fair enough.
That's the thing, you see. You've got hare, you've got squirrel, you've got rat.
Ursat's hair, Ursat's squirrel.
If you're in a position where you need Ursat's rat meat, you've got real problems.
That's why I didn't go that far down the line.
And there, again, is a good NPC name. Ursat's Rat Meat.
I've just been having conversations with an NPC called Ram's Meat in Witcher 1.
Yeah,
I'm making...
So it fits.
Yeah. I still think he'd be less menacing if you called him Mutton.
Well, they might be slightly harder of hearing.
Yeah, true. Ouch. So, the tale behind the Inn of the Smoking Horse is painted on its signboard outside.
It's a horse and it's smoking.
There's a dead horse whose belly appears to be on fire.
Isn't this place in Ramsgate? It's the Blazing Donkey.
Blazing Donkey, yes. And two poorly painted gentlemen are standing around warming their hands either side of it. You have no idea why this situation occurred.
Probably it was a day like this and they were bleeding cold.
Well, you reckon somebody fed the horse some ghost chili just to see what would happen?
That's possible.
Okay. So, the young-looking toughs, are you up? And one of them stands up and tries to make himself look beefy.
I'm not going to stop him
Yes.
doing that.
Very good of you to offer, but we don't have any luggage.
You talk funny.
Well, unfortunately, it was a good guess, but no, I am not a bard. We are looking for the innkeeper, though. Is he in there?
He's in there. You paying customers?
Not yet, because you're standing in the way.
Yeah, cool. Where are you from?
Lots of places. Around.
What about
We
your mate?
travel. He's from different places.
Didn't he talk?
A bit.
How's about you answer me a simple question? Can we get into this inn or not?
There's a door there.
Right then. I'll go in.
Their
I'll follow
daily dose of attempted intimidation assuaged. To be fair, they can't really do it to anyone bigger than them. So, and if you look too menacing, then the slavers pitch up and you get forcibly recruited. They're trying to pitch it as just menacing enough to annoy people. So yes, you step into the inn, glad to be out of the drizzle.
Has it occurred to you that that's not the best way to attract people to come in here?
Are you
In my
talking
experience, people who run taverns and inns usually encourage people to come in and spend money, not to sod off and spend it somewhere else.
Are you talking to the innkeeper inside?
Yes, I'm talking to whoever's behind the bar.
Yeah, there's a stocky gentleman with quite a long beard and earrings. When you address him, he looks up and sort of makes a noise. I can't do Northern. Let me just take a run up at this. So if the lads caused you trouble, keeps them occupied.
It's funny that. Because we've just come up through Mecht here into Geso, and so far, being occupied is not on people's list of favourite things.
That's because they've never experienced it before. Ah! And he does indeed flex his shoulders. It takes you a moment to twig that he's presumably standing on a box or something.
Yeah, your description that he was.
Yeah.
There's a raised
He
floor.
is, yeah, he is on your roughly on your eye level. With Dagrid, but he is clearly, yeah, he's a dwarf. If the beard wasn't a clue, then the general build and the accent are a dead giveaway. I just, I thought they looked like they needed something to do, so I gave them a job.
Fair enough.
Bouncers by night. Pretty fair floor sweepers by day. I think they're bored at the moment.
I'm just breathing a sigh of relief you didn't decide to take them on as prostitutes.
No. We have a deal. We're not allowed to do that. Sorry, I can't do Northern. I really can't do Northern.
What? Take them on or just have any at all?
Oh no, any at all.
Why?
It's a
Who's this deal with?
demarcation. Well, the Privates Club, just outside town, that handles all the sorts of things you're after.
That damn woman. How much do you think I had to bribe her to get that those directions out of her?
Well, it depends what you're after.
Well, right now I think I'm after my friend here buying me a drink, and you providing us with somewhere we can sleep the night.
Oh, if you're after somewhere to sleep the night, that's why you got pointed here.
I suppose, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think I actually did say sleep.
You did.
But yes, technically.
And wake up again. Sorry.
I did. I said sleep and wake up again. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be why we're here.
Yeah, the Privates Club would get you a bed for the night, but you wouldn't get much sleep.
So about those beers.
Not
2
a problem. He reaches down and dunks out 2 measures of beer from an open barrel. And he does reach down. If you look over the bar, there is in fact a step running the length of it. Made of wood. It's basically, he's got a bench running the length of the bar so he can look over the top of it. Without feeling intimidated. Or more importantly, so he can see what people are doing. There's no barmaids that you can see in here. The room itself...
Location.
Yeah. They're all working at the Privates Club. As privates as in officers and privates, by the way.
I'll believe you, thousands would.
Yeah. That got named a while ago. I thought, the officers' club is where everything dodgy normally goes on. I like the idea of the Privates Club, and then it was only after I named it I thought, oh, hang on. Take a run up at that one. Witcher, yes. World building crappy towns.
So, Fish, you've got the prices there. How much are we expecting for a couple of ale?
It says
Same as him trying to have it a look.
Sorry?
£5 per beer according to
Yep.
this. It's page 93, by the way, if you want
Yeah,
the
cheers.
The appropriate price next time.
That's alright. I've just got so far 3 different pages which they've not yet put the bookmarked version up. So I'm having to actually keep track of which pages I need to look at. So 93 I will add to the list. Right. I like this. That's a nice touch. Always remember to roll up the items on an enemy before you bring them into combat. You don't want to have to retcon the fact they were carrying a bedroll or hauling around a griffin egg.
Yeah.
So none of this roll for treasure after they're dead.
I'm a great believer, if you do roll after they're dead, I'm a great believer in just re-rolling any item that it would have been obvious they were carrying, or that they would have used during the fight.
Exactly.
Suddenly discovering that they're carrying a battle axe when they fought you with a knife the entire time.
Yes. Ew, severed tongue? Okay, fair enough. The random possessions table, I'm going to get a lot of play out of.
That's pretty random.
Yes. So.
Well, you have to have severed tongue because it's much harder to put in a sandwich otherwise.
That comes under random meat.
Ah, does it?
Pelt of some kind.
Is random meat Ram's meat's cousin?
Oh, for God's sake. This is going to be one of those sessions that doesn't actually hit the plot at any stage, but is still somehow fun.
As long as we have fun, who cares?
Absolutely.
Well, as much as anything, trying to give a flavour of the world, which is all, at the moment, somewhat knackered. So, you lads looking for work? You with the army? 2 separate questions there.
Do we look like we're with any army?
Well, you don't like you with the Black Ones army, because they're neater.
There you go.
But I suppose you're too young really to be with the militia.
I've not got the ears for the square tail.
Don't even go there. I can't cope with them anymore. I've had enough. Once they may have had a point, but now they're just after killing anyone they see with round ears.
Yeah, I thought they had a lot of points, and I thought that they enjoyed putting them into people with round ears.
Broadly speaking, I mean, they used to be good customers one day, but, fanaticism, not knowing you're in a lost cause, that sort of thing.
Well, here's to not being squirrels.
He dunks himself straight out of the jar, out of the barrel, a leather mug, which he swigs down in one. mentioning the squirrels. Keep your eyes open. Not saying they're in town,
Oh God, I was only joking.
but I've had a couple of people come in and say that they've seen a chap with pointy ears and a bow lurking on the outskirts. Now, elves not
I assume they
popular
don't mean
around
he was
here.
hanging around with a fella.
Sorry?
I assume they don't mean he was hanging around with a fella.
No. But if it is Squirrel Scouts, then, well, you're both human. It doesn't pay to get in the way.
Only barely in his case.
Oh,
Apparently Dagreed's job is to just stand there and get insulted by everybody. I like.
I think personally this is just because Knight is an evil bastard and thought, let's let the person who's having to do the dodgy accent do all the talking.
no, it's more that I think the other, I think one half of the character probably talks a lot less. The other half does a lot more talking.
That makes sense.
And I'm not dressed as the other half.
Fair enough.
As long as I don't have to start calling you
I
Norman.
approve of the mug, by the way.
I made it myself.
Cool.
Nice.
It's actually a leather mug.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Yeah.
When you said leather tankards, I thought, I've got
Yeah.
one of them because I made one.
I've always quite liked
Those
the
things
leather
cost a
mug.
fortune in souvenir shops.
They do. Yes, you have to
Relatively
teach.
easy to make.
Right, that is, I think, your first leatherworking project then. For your top down, I think that would work well.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I bet people would watch that stream.
Mm.
How to make a leather mug.
Yeah. I bloody would.
Just pop that up to the camera so you can. It's not overly big. Yeah, it's.
That's
I mean,
fine.
compared to the cup that Trot and I are drinking out of, it's
Yeah,
smaller.
about this. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 300 mils roughly, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll take.
Quite cute.
Because when full, those are 330. So yes,
That sounds like someone that's emptied a can of cola in there.
it is. Well, it's also marked on the inside. I didn't realise.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Apparently you're not the only one who didn't realise.
Yeah,
It's all black.
It is.
It hides in the
oh no, it's
shadows.
it's on the side. No, it's just one of those. Oh, did not know. I've used this for a fortnight now. So yeah, but yes, definitely, I would watch that stream. Basically, yeah, he sort of leans in. He seems friendly enough. He's not being excessively ingratiating. But you also get the distinct impression this is not his first home. And this is not necessarily somewhere he'll weep to leave.
Well, he's. If I remember the world history rightly, being a dwarf, he's one of the elder races, so does have a more native home somewhere.
It does indeed, yeah. He's probably from Mahakam.
I was going to say, is it Mahakam?
It's Mahakam for the dwarves, yeah. He certainly has the same accent as people you've known from Mahakam. The thing is, dwarves, so long as they don't cause trouble, tend to be allowed to rub along with the populace.
Of course, you're failing to take into account that if dwarves talk like more like this, then anything spelt Mahakam is probably pronounced mum.
It's Morecombe, isn't it?
It's Morecambe.
Oh my god, they're
It's
from Morecombe!
They're from Morecambe. They've got a bay and everything.
Yes! Dwarves in this game now come from Morecambe.
We've now established that in our world, at least, dwarves come from Morecambe.
Yes!
That is great. I love it.
Hang on a sec.
I was about to make some note for future reference.
Yep.
Although for people who don't know British geography, of course, if you change the spelling of it, then Morecombe Bay is a great name for a necromancer.
Actually, yes. I like that. As in Ardet Bay. So, he leans back on his elbows. I like that.
Oh.
That works. So, what brings you to town then, lads?
Looking for work.
Speed, largely, yeah. Two important questions, I suppose. One, how much is this room going to cost us for the night? And two, yeah, what is there we can do to make the money back again?
Right. Well, if you want the room, you're looking at you're looking at 4 crowns.
I had a feeling we were looking at 4
You're
crowns.
looking at 4 crowns. Unfortunately,
Get
there's
you
nothing
in
better
there.
here. It does. I've read the write-up, and basically, you don't get better than cheap, even in decent-sized towns. You're looking at cities before you can.
Won't do. You've got to work up a bit to get anything
Yeah.
decent.
But
The only place you might find, in any setting, the only place you might find better than a cheap room outside of the cities are on major caravan routes and so forth, where you might have a lot of travellers, possibly wealthy merchants coming through.
yeah. But a standard little town like this, which is only not a hovel because it's seen hovel. A hovel is Gliswyn. This place never resisted.
So
Ah,
they can
yes,
get flattened.
kitchen in room won't have a lock and won't be free of rats. Well, it certainly won't be once I get there.
But yeah, this I can do you one between the two or one each, because I can put an extra pallet in if you'd rather stay together.
We're friendly folk. I think we'll take the one.
Yeah.
It's cheaper, extra security.
And I should pass him 2 crowns for tonight's. 4 crowns for tonight's room.
Okay. Thanks for that. He reaches down and you hear a jingle. You heard it earlier as well when you
I'm gonna pay for the ale.
My God, he's got his own advertising track.
It's time for riff tracks. Yes. It implies either a sack or a strongbox immediately under the bar.
Yeah.
I mention this only in passing and because you're both larcenous little bastards. It just comes
Yeah, but
down
at the
to...
moment we're staying
You
here.
don't shit where you sleep.
Absolutely.
You really don't. These things don't come with en-suites.
That wasn't where I was going, but
Do
So,
assassins say don't shiv where you sleep?
probably.
they didn't.
I think that's a perfect rogue phrase. I love that.
I think it could well work, actually, yeah.
We need to adopt that now.
Yes.
Shit
we
where you
do.
sleep.
That's a t-shirt. Don't shiv where you
Yes,
sleep. That's
I like
definitely
that. No, I can't shift fish anymore to the left. Okay, fair enough. So you're just right on the edge of your frame,
Ah,
but I can't move you any further to the left because if I do, you'll be impinging on the other window.
if I move my microphone a little bit that way, then I'm slightly more centered within
Yeah.
the camera. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. It's only when you leant on one hand I suddenly thought, oh, if he goes any further, he's going into the side, and he's off the screen and into someone's drink. Garter sheath. Sorry. Things that you leap out and have you
Well,
leap out at you.
you need something to keep your garter in,
Well,
so that you can draw it in a hurry.
there's a few jobs kicking around. You guys handy with hammer and nails? Lumber?
I will unhook my hand axe from my belt, which is more of a chopping wood hatchet type thing than a combat hand axe.
Uh-huh.
The way I see it, it is a hand axe, but it's that he didn't get a weapon. He just picked up an axe from somewhere. I'm a dab hand at chopping firewood.
Well, I'm not in need. Oddly enough, I can do the axe thing. But, yeah, there's a couple of jobs on the board. Do you good to have a look. Might be something there to tickle you. Depends whether you're staying here or not. Certainly make you enough back.
Does he point in the general direction of where the board might be? Or?
Yep, here the board is actually inside. This town probably has a couple of them, and it'll be where people post, literally sort of, you know, the post-it note size. Wanted, 1 cat.
Yeah.
You know, for sale, stereo, not stolen.
And I have got the bare minimum common speech that is needed to be able to read common speech if there's anything in there in common.
Okay.
It's at a base 10, isn't it? For
it is.
Being able to read.
Yeah.
And I've got exactly base 10.
Yes, I know you struggled with the points.
Because we house rule.
Common speech.
Yeah, he's speaking old
Basically,
speech.
Intelligence plus common speech. If they come to 10, you can read.
Yep, I also have common speech at 10.
And Elder speech, which is Nilfgaardian, is going to be higher because that's your native.
The dwarf, Elder speech, not old speech. The dwarf is indeed speaking Elder speech. At you.
And not Dwarven, because he actually isn't dumb enough to greet everyone who comes into his inn in a language nobody else knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take our beers and wander over and look at the board.
Okay.
Adventurers wanted. What's this nonsense?
Right. The top notice might explain why he was asking if you were any good with a hammer. Wanted. Labourers to reshingle Merchant Delgrin's house.
There's a merchant in town.
And his house has a hole in the roof.
Now, that's interesting to know.
Oh no. I'm not so sure about that though, because I don't want to get into any stereotypes here. I don't want to turn up with my bad Irish accent and immediately take a labouring job and then steal from the man that I'm working for. I might be breaking some kind of rules there.
You wouldn't be doing the stealing.
Like that. There's a job for resurfacing someone's roof, and you guys are straight into burglary.
There's two ways you can approach this. Either the guy's a merchant and thus rich, so you can play the long game and scam him, or you can play the short game
Just
and
rip
pick
it
up a
off.
couple of bits and pieces.
Okay.
If you're really careful, you can do both.
Yeah. So,
But we need to know enough about him to start the scam.
what else is on the board?
And all of a sudden, we're stepping into hustle.
Yes.
Yes.
Is he an honest man? You can't con an honest man.
Oh god, this is true. This is true, and indeed this is true. Okay.
So that's something we need to get to know him to find
I'm
out.
suddenly having flashbacks with the notice boards to the news services in GURPS Supers,
Ah, those were the days.
where you can seed stories
Yeah.
and totally irrelevant stuff.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
But even the totally irrelevant stuff can suddenly become relevant when we decide to jump down a random rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hang on. Right. So yes, you've got labourers wanted to reshingle Merchant Delgrin's house. Madam Shedwin, your fortune told, ills cured, belly problems, in inverted commas, a speciality.
I don't think either of us has got that.
A scrawled, slightly heavy hand with warning underlined twice. Drowners spotted in the creek, take care.
Oh, bother. They left me silver sword at home.
You got a silver sword there, mate?
You got a silver sword in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
And we're into the private part, privates club again. Ow. I just managed to break a nail on the edge of my desk. I'm quite impressed with that. Ouch.
If we stay for any time, I think we need to visit the Privates Club. If there's going to be a game anywhere, it's going to be there.
And that's where we need to make the money.
Yes, you're gamblers, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I, again, just about hit base 10 on gambling.
Okay.
Gambling comes off of empathy. Likewise, I hit a base of 10.
Yeah, so
Okay.
neither of us awesome gamblers, but both competent gamblers.
I'm probably better than your average Joe, especially after he's had an ale or three.
After you've had a few, yeah.
Of course, deceit I'm a little better at, so I can convince them that my hand is better than actually it is.
Plus, I think that we both own loaded dice, which help.
Yeah.
Yes. If they don't like my dice, suggest they use yours.
Yes. The trick is you go in separately, make sure people don't know that you're together, and when somebody starts to get suspicious of one of them, the other one immediately goes, right, that's it then. I don't trust you. We're using my dice now.
Unfortunately, we're sharing the same room.
Fair enough.
It doesn't really work so well in this instance.
Okay.
And for future planning,
Underneath the advert for Madame Shadwin, you have wake and dinner dance at Merchant Delgrim's. All persons of repute welcome, and it names a day about 3 days hence.
Was that the same guy who has the shingles?
Yes.
How can he have a dinner dance if he's got shingles?
clearly he needs it fixed before the dinner dance happens, so there's an urgent need for the work.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And underneath, reward for squirrel tails, ask at Privates Club.
Yeah, that's got sort of all to do with small furry animals, hasn't it?
Yep. That does indeed have sort of all to do with small furry animals.
Now, this may be a case of Knight not knowing the terminology of the game, so I'm assuming tails means scalps.
Technically, it is actually squirrel tails, because the Scoia'tael, who at one point were, if you think Elven IRA, you're probably on the right track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of halfway between the IRA and the French freedom fighters. Depending on which end you end up talking to. Wore hats made of squirrel fur.
Oh.
With the tails down at the back. So, asking for squirrel tails, it could just be the tail cut off the hat, it could be the cap, it could be pointy ears.
Head.
It could be a head. Ears are good.
Kind of like hunting a bunch of elven Davy Crockett's.
Yep. But the Scoia'tael have been less of a force since the war started. Essentially, there aren't enough to really bring the numbers up, and their cause is largely lost. They got clobbered by humans, and they've never really recovered. So, those are the notices on the board. What are you guys doing?
Oh, that's a good question.
As you're reading, sort of...
I don't know anything about roofing.
No scientist. But the squirrel tails could get us into a club with a little more gravitas. Or at least
Do you know anything about squirrels?
Not a thing.
No, me neither.
Oh, you did get warned there might be some around town.
I mean, if If there's any actual squirrels in the area, that'd be a damn sight easier, I reckon. Just claim we got them from a square tell.
Yeah, the Squirrel are just a story to you. Skellige doesn't have them.
No.
It's not a big elven community on
Heard
Skellige.
about it if you hit landfall, really. That's
And
about it.
and those who are there tend to be of the, well, you can survive in the snow, good egg. There's less of
I'm quite happy, though, just to cook and eat a couple of actual squirrels and then
deliver their
claim the
tails.
bounty on Square Tell.
Okay.
That works for me.
Okay then. If you want to try that, I have no problem with you attempting that.
I honestly have no idea whether there would even be squirrels in this area. I do not have the skills to determine such things.
Well then.
Are squirrels covered by monster law? Don't have that, but if I did, I'm guessing wilderness survival would be.
Wilderness
that's
survival
yes.
would be
Squirrels in the area.
indeed. Yes. Wilderness
Don't
survival
have that
would
either.
indeed. What do we got? Wilderness survival is pretty much it.
Can I make just a straight intelligence roll then to see whether I know whether this is an area where squirrels might live?
Go for it.
Right,
Go fishing.
10 plus my int, yeah?
Yep.
Ooh, 14.
So now I've got to look for the difficulty numbers.
And remember that this, like Obi, is a game where you have to roll higher than the listed difficulty number.
Yes.
Not equal to.
There we go. That's actually the levels. That's foraging. Come on, guys. Skill resolution. I was close. Using skills you don't have.
Just roll against the stat.
Yeah, yes. Add your stat to the die roll. So, this is an average. What did you roll?
I rolled 14.
Unfortunately, you roll a 15. You need a 15.
So, yeah, I don't
It's a
really
14 difficulty threshold. There are some trees. As far as you know, squirrels live in
Cool.
trees. You don't know
Squirrels,
if there are any.
trees, it's a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah. Basically, it's borderline.
Can I make a craft roll to see whether I know anything about roofing?
Go on then.
My craft is considerably lower than my intelligence.
Mine is not. I might actually know something about roofing.
I rolled exactly the same on the die, which means that I got 12 to see whether I know anything about roofing.
So that's what crafting plus your
That's just craft.
Just-
plus
yeah,
master
yeah,
and
craft,
thought.
yeah.
So I'm going to have a think, because I'm sure I've been around some sort of construction work at some point or other.
Yes, you actually have the crafting skill, don't you?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't have the crafting. I don't think I have the crafting.
I thought you did. Hang on.
No.
It's in the little box.
But I have a
Craft.
very high craft.
So
You
there
do.
go. That's a step in the right direction.
Roll
So-
it.
He's the one who picks the locks.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
That gives my roll of 8 gives me a 17.
Oh, yeah,
Blimey,
you do
yeah,
have
you're
high
not kidding,
craft,
are
don't
you?
Craft of 9.
Okay.
Your
You've
craft is up there
seen.
with my reflex.
You reckon that you reckon you could make a fist of a roofing job, because you know how the shingles
them
would
sit
need to
together.
overlap and sit together. You've looked at roofs.
And-
Occasionally, you've looked at roofs from the underneath.
I'm like, Hamish, you actually know what a shingle is.
It's some disease you get.
Yeah.
All you'd need is
It's measles.
for somebody to cut you the shingles, and you could probably manage the first story work yourself, and do the roof repairs.
Shingle is what Nilfgaarders call straw.
Most houses are indeed thatched. The smaller dwellings are indeed thatched that you've been through, but the larger and more substantial ones are roofed properly. They're not roofed with tile as they would be down in Nilfgaard proper, but they have the wooden roofing, which is what the shingles are, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dagwood reckons that he could probably make a fist of the roofing gig.
We'll make a complete fist of it, to be honest.
Let's be honest here. You've turned up. You're itinerant workers. One of you's got a dodgy Irish accent. And you're basically looking to do roof repairs. This is Rogue Traders the RPG.
This is Rogue Traders the RPG, yeah.
You get up there and say, "Oh, I had some white cowboys up here last time. I know you only contracted me to do these couple of square feet, but I've just had to do the entire roof. Don't worry, I'll take you to the post office and you can get me the money."
What time was it by the time we've gotten in and had a beer and had a look at this? Are we sort of late afternoon?
It's now late afternoon, early evening. A couple of workmen types, you're assuming workmen, they're muddy, come in, settle down at the bar, and are poured a couple of mugs of ale. It's not a, all sound drops when they realise there's new people in town. They just largely ignore you.
Just out of interest, because we haven't mentioned it, and I've just looked it up to check how it works in this particular system anyway.
Okay.
Your luck score is a number of points that you have which can be added to die rolls.
That was
you
it.
have to choose to use luck before you roll, and the number of points of it that you spend is the number of points that are added to the die roll, and that resets each session.
Yes.
So at the start of each session you get all your luck back. So
which is nice.
this is a system that is designed to really shaft GMs who, like me, love to end on a good cliffhanger. A good cliffhanger, it's all going horribly wrong, but it's okay because you got your luck back.
Yes.
Well, that's how the cliffhanger resolves in
Which is why
any
the
pulp
cliffhanger
TV
doesn't
show.
kill everyone. Yes, this
Yes.
is true.
Yeah, it's that moment of luck where the bad guy trips over a shoelace, or the gun doesn't fire, or
Yeah. Oh,
We were
you
completely
you
stuffed,
watched
but it's
your,
okay. Now I can just make this one last necessary attack at +9 by blowing everything.
Yeah, but that leaves you then completely stuffed for the rest of
For
the
the whole of the
entire
rest of the
session. Right. While you decide what you want to do, I'm going to take a brief comfort break because we mucked around for so long. I kind of
yeah,
Lost
it's
the
actually
plot.
not a bad plan.
back in a sec.
Okay. I would say, are there any questions from chat? But I don't think there's any chat in chat, is there? But if there is, and you have any questions, do pipe up. If you're not familiar with The Witcher, or with tabletop role-playing, or with the Witcher tabletop role-playing, or with the interlock system on which this is based.
It all went quiet over there.
Aha. I think we both came back at more or less the same time there.
But I just assumed that you were talking. You were just avoiding talking to each other.
No. When you said comfort break, I did very much the same.
I did just have a quick check and realised that Fogbot did not deign to give you an announcement, Kurt.
Oh.
So I put one in.
I'm just checking I am live. Yeah, I am.
You are live, yeah.
You are, because I've also opened up your stream to make sure.
Yeah.
I opened up your stream mainly, actually, so I could see whether you put an AFK up, because if you had, I'd have gone for a comfort break, and you hadn't. So
Sorry.
I waited till you got back. Now that you are back, and not just a blank screen with no players and no sound, I will now go for a comfort break.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I can ask quite a few background questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So, notice boards, is it the sort of thing where when you see a job you want, you just take the notes off the board, or do you leave it there and just report into the guy in the morning anyway?
It's easier if you take it with you, because then you can wave it under someone's nose.
Well, I shall take the roofing job off the board.
Okay.
Depending on how far away this guy's place is, it might be worth a walk up this evening to properly, because if we're sort of late afternoon, early evening, it might be getting a little dark, a little unpleasant to see. What with it being overcast and raining.
Yeah.
But of course, what with it being raining, he'll be really keen to get the work done
Yes.
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, when Fisher gets back, I shall suggest we go and walk up to visit Merchant Mulgray's. Mulgray?
Delgrin.
Melgrim. There we
Delgrin.
go. Visit his gaff and take a look at how much work actually needs doing.
Okay. Fair enough.
And while we're there, possibly scope out the rest of the town as well.
Okay. So, is there anything leaping out at you about the sort of the setting, the idea that you feel you want to know more about?
The setting, not at the moment. What I really need to do is all sort of in character at this point, listen in to what's going on around the town and understand what's happening in the town. But we're new here, so it's not something I would know before getting here.
Okay.
So that's just keeping an ear to the ground and listening out. So while viewing the board, I'm going to be listening to the guys that just came in. See what
Okay.
they're grumbling about and so on and
Right.
so forth.
Okay. Right. So... So, that's fair enough. So yeah, as the evening sort of has progressed, it's not late by any means, but after the first initial couple of workmen came in, then a few women trolled in. One of them was served ale, the other one was served what you suspect to be wine, but it's hard to tell. But it came out of a bottle as opposed to out of the barrel. And they sit in a corner, giggling to each other. They don't look terribly well dressed. They're not, suddenly on the scrap heap, crawled out of a gutter. They're just clearly literal working girls as opposed to working girls, if you see what I mean.
Girls
Yes.
who work.
Yes, they're girls who have an employment. They are not...
Not members of the oldest profession.
No. No, you're still in the wrong club for that.
We do need to play that place a visit as well. But not for that reason I hastened to.
There's likely to be money to be made there, though.
Or
Yes.
stolen, or...
Yep.
That's how you make money. Surely you take it from someone else.
Exactly.
through fair means or foul. Or both, preferably. Double the profit. So, Fish, while you're away, I've decided that I'm going to pick up off the board the advert requiring workmen roofers, as opposed to roofies, which is what I have the chloroform for.
Yes, I love the idea you go equipped. That appeals to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Because if this guy's having a soiree of some sort, then A, we want to make sure we get invited to it by whichever means necessary, and B, we want to make sure we know the layout when we do, so we know what we're looking at. So I was going to suggest that we head up there this evening, finish our drink, and head up. We've got our room, so we know where we're sleeping tonight. We head up, look around,
Okay.
get a feel for the town, have a chat with the merchant, scope out what he needs doing. Fair means or foul, so if we can do it, we do it. Starting the next day, we'll do it, provided he's got the materials. I can't supply the materials what he needs.
No,
Is any of this making sense to you, Amos?
It seems quite reasonable to me, yes.
Wasn't sure if the whole
We can
manual
go
labour
and,
thing was a bit beyond you.
We can go and assess the job, so to speak.
Yes.
Take a look at his roof and see what needs doing to it, and how many holes there are, and whether we can see where his strongbox is.
Exactly.
Important stuff you need to know.
Okay.
And as I say, I'll be listening to whatever's going on around, the women that come in, what sort of topics of conversation they've got, what the buzz, such as it may be.
The two fellas at the bar are comparing their opinions initially of the two young ladies who walked in recently, but also trying to work out how many hours they'll have to work for, as they put it, the black ones, before they can earn themselves a visit to the privates, which they do phrase like that. And one of them is speculating as to whether or not he can pay in turnips. Seems unlikely, according to the other one.
I'm with the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, less likely if he's got no turnips.
The two girls
need a visit to the privates.
The two girls who came in after one of them downs her wine and then returns for a second glass. Comes past, and which one of you two is the better looking?
That's a very good question.
That is a very good question. Is it an appearance style?
Let's go with empathy, which
My
covers
empathy
charisma.
is
Grooming and style is specifically a thing.
It is specifically a skill.
I do not have.
Amazingly, I do not have.
Ungroomed and unstylish.
Currently, my empathy is 7.
Okay, roll it, please.
Oh, there you
D10
go, then.
plus your empathy. It's not a roll you particularly want to make, but it's a roll that you're going to make.
I totaled 10, I'm afraid.
Okay. This is a relative thing. How about you, Fish?
Oh, say rolling as well.
Yes, you're rolling as well. This is basically an untrained grooming and style roll.
I somehow got a 15.
Plus, you do have that whole not local thing.
Yeah, there's that, I suppose. Oh, and hello, Taladir. I hadn't noticed you there.
Yes.
So I apologise.
I think I said hello, Taladir. If I didn't say hello, Taladir, hello, Taladir. So yes, the one who's been on the wine wanders past and fixes Hamus with a vaguely predatory glare. You get the feeling she's about 17-ish, 17, 18, it's probably about your age. Dark-haired and quite pretty. The other one pauses when she realises that her friend is staring, grabs her by the arm and drags her off. back to their table. But the dark-haired one does keep looking in your direction.
You know what? I think this town's beginning to look up.
It is, or your prospects are.
Maybe both.
Ah, you
Well,
see.
she's got any money.
Well, now, if they have, we could use that to our advantage.
You two are horrible.
I have no points in social etiquette, seduction, grooming and style. None of these things have points. I did realise I probably actually created my character wrong because I put nothing into charisma. All of my empathy points went into deceit, gambling, and my 1 point in human perception that I had to have.
Yeah.
And nothing into sort of like charisma and persuasion and so forth. And then I played him as being quite talkative, which really doesn't fit the skills. So I messed up between character creation and actual play.
To be honest, this being our first run out at it, if you want to tweak a couple of points across,
I'm not sure where I'd take them from, to be honest.
this is the thing.
Yeah.
Then I don't necessarily have a problem with that this early on. So if you want to do it between sesh.
That would be handy to know, because
yeah.
there are some mechanics that had I known at the start, I might have done my points differently.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of feeling our way with this at the moment, so I don't have a problem with you tweaking.
Without massively shafting my other skills, I think I can find 3 points for charisma. So I think what I will do is drop each of my sleight of hand, stealth, and picklock.
Okay.
And put those 3 points into charisma.
Okie doke. I can cope with that.
So I'll just make a note of that.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, it's early, so if this were a game that we all knew, then I would look a bit askance at this and on the, well, you should have decided earlier. But since we haven't played this, it's not really a prob. So, you've got basically a couple of workmen at the bar, you've got a couple of probably servant girls of some description lurking, and as you are getting yourselves together and
I reckon that it qualifies under the deceit skill.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to use my training in deceit to what's the term I'm looking for? I'm going to mirror her, where she keeps looking over. I'm going to be looking back and generally mirroring. So a combination of my 1 point in human perception and my 4 in deceit, I think, using that.
Okay. Make me a deceit check.
Okie dokie.
The human perception lets you.
Right, okay.
Make this an average difficulty. She's not that hard to read.
That's a natural 10, so I got 20.
Okay.
Nice.
You managed to mirror her body language to a preternatural degree. Within the space of half an hour, she's largely stopped having a conversation with her friend. And is giving one-word answers, but is paying a lot of attention to your table. And
a quick look at this girl. Does she look like she might have a few coins that she could afford to lose, or does she look sort of as fairly breadline as everyone else that we bumped into?
Her dress is not the highest of quality, but it isn't patched to oblivion. And she has ordered so far 3 glasses of wine.
You did say that they looked like they had employment.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't know what they do for a living.
Not necessarily, not wealthy, but not destitute.
No.
I mean, they wouldn't be in here drinking wine if they were.
No. And they were in drinking wine from relatively early. It's only just turned evening. So, take that as you find it. So, As you are preparing to head out, because I believe Dagrid said you wanted to check out
Yeah,
the job.
Yes.
before we get to the heading out,
Yeah.
Hamus has a plan which he is not going to fill.
Dagrid.
It's not Dagwood.
No, don't. I keep wanting to do that.
Dagwood?
Yes.
In on.
Does
What
he now?
he's going to do is he's going to take their empty mugs back to the bar,
Right.
being polite, and he is going to say loudly enough for the rest of the room to hear, but not at an artificially sillily loud rate. He's fairly certain that she'll be paying attention to him anyway.
Okay.
We thought we might take a look around and see what there is in the town. You can't recommend anywhere particularly that we should go, or anybody who could show us around, can you?
The dark-haired one takes a deep breath and turns to you, and her friend visibly kicks her in the shins. Well, there's not really much to do round here. I know where there's going to be a party, but there isn't one yet.
When you say not yet, do you mean not today, or not till later today?
Well, not today. There's going to be one in a couple of days. I'm thinking of going. If I can find somebody to accompany me. Young gentleman type.
I don't know that I know any young gentlemen, but I might still be around in a couple of days.
Could you? You're going to be staying here, will you?
Well, we're staying here for tonight. Whether we're here any longer really depends on whether we can find any work in the area, but there's a couple of leads on the board we might take a look at. Is there anything you could tell us that might be of help? Fine, upstanding lasses like yourself, I'm sure you can be of help to a couple of poor, down on their luck travellers, looking to maybe spend a little longer than just the one night in town.
Well, you get the feeling that although the lift does go all the way to the top, there's not a particularly extensive penthouse going on.
What a wonderful way to put it.
Yeah.
She flicks her hair. Well, they're looking for guards at the private club, because apparently the soldiers have better things to do.
I know Fishy said he was speaking loudly enough for me to hear. Is she speaking loudly enough?
She's just speaking at normal volume, yeah.
So,
Awareness check, perhaps?
Yeah,
See how much he can overhear?
go for it.
If he's anything
awareness.
like me, he could have a pretty decent score.
Yep. Yep, awareness
How's
is an
19
intelligence.
suit?
19.
Mm-hmm.
19 sounds
Yeah,
quite
okay, that'll do it. You can get every word. She holds her hand out to shake. She doesn't do the expecting you to kiss it or anything.
Oh, good.
She is a village. She's a town girl. She's not a total ditz. Marion. You?
Hamus.
Hamus. She looks speculative. Are you Skelligan?
That's a keen ear you've got on you there. I do indeed hail from those blessed isles.
My
Not been there in a few years, though.
my dad was in the Navy.
Was he indeed?
Yeah. He said it was great fun when they faced a Skelligan crew.
Yeah, that's not something most people say.
Oh yeah.
Some people don't like to face the Skellige.
Well, just as he put it, a hack and a slash above your average bandit crew.
Well, they're fine sailors, most Gallagher. I mean, myself, if I were a fine sailor, I'd not be standing here. But I've got cousins on the boats, and they are fine sailors indeed. And not unaccomplished warriors at that.
Oh, yeah. Plus, they tended to take hostages. So, the theory was, if you ended up getting caught by the skeletons, you weren't headed off to some slave pits or anything. You were taken back and given beer until your ransom was paid.
Well, very civilized people, Skelly.
Exactly.
Speaking of beer. What do you reckon, Dag? One more drink. Can I get something for you, ladies?
She will smile and say, "I'll have red, please."
Right then. Did we get a name for the bartender?
You didn't, no.
I didn't think so.
So, you can ask if you want.
Not going to bother right now, to be honest.
Okay.
2 more beers, please, and is that 2 reds?
No. The paler girl with light hair, who looks to be maybe a couple of years older than her friend. I drink ale.
Oh, well then, in that case, 3 beers and 1 wine.
Uh-huh. You don't feel like paying the cover charge?
Cover charge.
Up at the club.
Just using full deceit here to try and look like I don't know what she's talking about.
Oh, this is him. This is the bartender.
Oh, him. Right. Still doing exactly the same thing.
Okay. Let's go with deceit check then. Let's go with deceit versus awareness.
Oh,
Actually,
dear.
no. Versus human perception.
Ah, yeah, makes sense. I got 15.
Okay. Right. You beat him. I didn't roll particularly well. Besides, it's human perception.
Hey, it's not dwarven
Yes,
perception.
dwarven perception is much higher.
Yep.
It's much better than that.
Uh-huh. You green as grass, aren't you? Oh, you've got some stuff to learn. Look, they're nice enough girls. But bear in mind, all girls have brothers, or fathers, or cousins. You know.
I've got a few myself.
Yeah. Just keep your wits about you, okay? You seem like a nice kid. He says,
Wait,
having
really?
totally failed his roll to notice that you've basically been pulling from...
That's what I'm going for. I will wink and then head back. Come along, ladies. I'll introduce you to my friend.
Okay.
So what was her name again? Began with an M. I got that.
Marion.
Dag, this is Marion, and I'm afraid I didn't catch your name.
Tild.
I'd tell. This is my friend Dag.
Dag. Any more to that name, or...
Dag.
Dag. You're not local. Well, neither is he, but you're not.
Oh, that's grand, that is. You're not local.
She narrows her eyes slightly and looks at Dagwood. Deserter?
I'm not fond of where I'm from. I'm not proud of it. I'd rather not be from there. Can we leave it at that?
Fair enough. I can cope with an honest man. And she gives Hamus the side eye.
There's just few of them around these days.
So I've noticed.
One of the things you'd like if you ever went to Skellige. We're an honest people, the Skellige. Very upfront. Tell it like it is.
Up front.
Oh yes.
I think I like the sound of Skellige. I hear it's
It's a
pretty.
grand place if you can take the cold.
Ah. Yeah, Dad said it was cold.
Yes, I'm not so fond of the cold myself. That's part of the reason why I left, you know.
He did make some friends over there, though. Something about being captured by the same crew 3 times in 3 years.
Well, you see, we're a very friendly people. And our accents slip a lot.
Yeah. Accents go all over the place.
Yeah.
Accents do that. It happens.
She,
Look at me now. Here I am, never met you before in my life. Just bought you a drink. How friendly do you want? That's Skellige all over. Always ready with the ale.
Huh.
Or a sword, but that's not so much me. You'll notice I don't even have a sword.
Oh, no, I see. She, giggles.
No, I got away from those cold, dark, depressing shores. They're lovely people, but absolutely lousy weather. I wanted to go somewhere where I could find something to warm me up a bit.
She hair flips again. And Tilde rolls her eyes at Dagwood.
You're in here, Dag.
Yeah, you got one.
Eye rolls are not a sign that one is in.
No, eye rolls are the sign that you need to rejig your sleeping arrangements.
Yes.
So, why are you in town?
Honest answer, it was in between the town we were in last and the town we'll be in next.
Oh.
About the only reason.
Excuse me, ladies. I will be right back. Head off to the bar.
What can I do for you, sir?
Do you have a second room?
Yeah.
4 more crowns.
Yeah. I'll leave the second pallet in the first one then. Push them together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Humans, what can you do? Do I get a Gwent card or something for this?
Hasn't bloody happened yet. I don't know, the first thing you guys do is you try and get laid.
It's the Witcher game.
The first thing he does, not me.
Yeah, good point.
I just reacted to the opportunity, that's all. Hamus is an opportunist. Very much so.
Fair enough. Right.
Plus he's got 9 luck, so it just makes sense when we get lucky.
Okay. So, how is the plan for the evening shaping up? Are you still going to head out into the increasing darkness as the sun drops?
I hesitate to use the term pump her for information.
I think given that the sun is dropping and conversations are taking a different turn, I'm quite happy to postpone that until the morning
Okay.
and give Hamus some backup.
Okay. If nothing else, you give Tilde someone to talk to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got a wingman, it's all good.
Okay. Over the course of the evening, then, you can expect...
I don't actually have any points in the seduction skill, but I get the impression all I need to do is not fumble it. Excuse the phrasing.
Yeah, that could have been phrased better.
Oh, I think it was phrased exactly how it was intended.
Yeah. I'm not saying that, you know, she's going to drop him for the first person she meets. She's not that kind of girl, but, you know, if you're going to use psychic programming techniques on her, that's cheating.
I just use basic lying. That's all.
Fair enough.
Don't have seduction. Don't have any of the complicated stuff. I just have basic lying.
Fair enough then. Okay, so over the course of the evening,
And 3 points in charisma, so
yeah,
will obviously be charming as well.
yes, whoever who's buying the beers can expect to have to get another 3 or 4 rounds in.
I'm hoping we're going to be rotating how much.
Okay.
Yes, it's going to get bloody expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what kind of information were you wanting to pump the girls for?
Notable people in town. You know, who are the ones
Okay.
to.
The movers and shakers.
Yeah. Who are the people who might give us a job? Who are the people we don't want to offend if we want to get a job?
And who are the people we really don't want to work for?
Yeah,
Or be
who are
seen to work
who are
for?
the people to avoid, very much so.
Okay. Well, top man in town. He holds the Baron. Well, technically he's not a Baron. He's sort of a Baron. He's a Baron somewhere else, but his title doesn't apply here because then he'd be in charge of the whole of Gelsa. And he's not. But Baron Kelsis. He's, I suppose, yeah, he's the most important person in town. Sort of owns most of it.
So is he one of the black fellas?
No. He came up from the south, but I'm not sure where he's from originally. Somebody who gave him somewhere where they made him a baron, but I'm guessing he's not allowed to be there anymore. He's a bit... He's got something to prove. You know? He's certainly nice to the dark ones. You know, doesn't want any trouble. I think it was his idea to open the privates. As 'twere.
Yeah, was it indeed?
Mm.
Businessman, is he, or just trying to keep people happy?
Bit of column A, bit of column B. Basically, you give people beer and you know, companionship, and it's amazing. You know, people rub along quite happily together.
Well, I'm all for beer and companionship.
Plus, to be honest,
Beer and companionship.
yeah, good to know. Plus, to be honest, we saw what happened south, and nobody wants that. So, best to welcome him in, really. You know, be friendly.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not my place, so I'm not really in a position to say one way or another who should and shouldn't be in charge of any of these places. So I just try to be polite to everybody.
Well, it's how you survive, isn't it? You just be nice to everyone, and let them sort of
Absolutely.
sweep in and out. They'll be gone at some point, or not. Doesn't really make much difference to me. Everyone's going to have clothes they need mending.
It's all the nobles at the end of the day, isn't it? They're the ones who it really matters to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, down here at the bottom of the pile, we do the same thing. Whoever's up there reaping the benefits.
So, this is Tilda. What is your trade exactly?
Whatever I can turn my hand to.
Aye.
Huh.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
So
I
after
suppose
honest
I'm like
work,
a general handyman.
Yeah. Tinker, trader, handyman.
with that accent you did not just claim to be a tinker. Well,
chop a bit of firewood, nail a few fences, whatever needs doing.
fair enough. See, I did hear there's work of that kind going. It was up on the boards. Someone's taken it down. Maybe it's done now. Oh, yeah, that one.
Going to visit him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ah,
See what he needs doing.
he's a weird one.
Weird.
Oh, aye.
Well,
Weird, we shouldn't go and see him. Oh, just weird.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead,
He's dead.
but it seemed... Well, no, he's not. Don't be silly. Marion giggles. No, his wife's dead. That's why it's awake. He's having a big party to celebrate her life, apparently. And he's going to donate. He's going to donate some of her treasure.
She had treasure.
She was quite wealthy before they came here, apparently. Fell for him, and he whisked her off to his estate down here. Which, possibly not the greatest idea, since, you know, a couple of months later, well, all hell broke loose, really.
But what, she gave up some of her wealth for love? That's romantic, that is.
I don't think she gave it up. I think she
What a
wore
lovely
most of it.
Oh, okay then.
But
And
no,
then,
she came with a dowry, didn't we? You know, don't we all? Marion says, smiling at you.
then she turned sick, did she?
Well, there was something wrong with her. I don't know whether she had a blow to the head at some point. This is Tilda speaking. But she walked in her sleep.
Well,
Now,
if the roof needs fixing, maybe a shingle fell on her.
possibly. The husband took her to see Madame Jedwin, but she just gave her some foul-tasting boiled roots, and well, didn't really help. But yeah, she took to walking in her sleep, so her husband hired a nurse to look after her. So,
Wasn't he young and pretty nurse by any chance?
well, yeah.
I had a feeling. Isn't it always a young and pretty nurse?
Well, clearly devoted to her. We never saw Arian, that's the wife, by the way. Never saw Arian without the nurse standing directly behind her. You know, followed her around everywhere, wherever she went, you know, if she came out to buy anything, when she visited us to have a new dress.
Amos is casting a lot of knowing looks at Dagwood at this point.
You know,
There so needs to be a thieves' cant in this game.
We may well invent one between us.
but no, she kept getting out at night. I mean, she'd unlock doors, apparently. Stop gossiping. It's not gossip if it's
That
true.
is quite some feat for a sleeper.
Well,
Useful background information, that's what it is. If we're going to see the man about doing his job, I mean, we obviously need to know not to walk up and say, you know, good day to you and your lady wife. This is useful things, you see. This is the kind of stuff we need to know.
well, he's been meaning to fix up that house. I mean, it's a big house, but the last chap who owned it, apparently, he got driven off. And, you know, it sort of fell into disrepute, so it was kind of... He was fixing it up as they went.
Driven off by who?
Bandits?
From a house in town?
Yeah?
Is there a scandal here that you're not telling us about?
And when you say fell into disrepute,
Not.
do you
You
mean
say-
disrepair?
That's the word. She's starting slightly to slur her words, is Marion. She's several glasses down. Yeah,
I'm still just sipping at mine.
yeah.
Wanted to keep
It's
fairly
not-
sharp.
It's not a house of disrepute. That'd be somewhere else.
Well, from what you've said, that's the Privates Club, isn't it?
Oh, that's very reputable. It's a good place, apparently. So I've heard. Pays well. Just not my sort of thing. Some of the girls come in and they come in for their clothes, such as they are. We're not a hovel. She puts on an air of faux dignity. You know, the it's supposed to come off as dignified and mature, and it kind of comes off as hinge and bracket.
Lovely.
We've got facilities here, and like I said, you make nice with the black ones, and they leave you alone. But yeah.
Personally, I think they're mad.
But yeah, basically, Delwyn's having a huge do. I think he'd like to invite as many people as he can. Because I don't think he's got a huge number of friends. But that's because he sells people things and nobody likes to, nobody likes the person who sets the prices. But he has caravans come through here. North and south to north. Regular basis. And they got goods. He sells them. And things are okay. But, no. This is, and their head starts to drop slightly. It's just doing that whole dozing off now. So what were we talking about? Apart from that, her accent's changed at least 3 times. She leans.
You might have had a little bit too much there. Might do you good to get your head down for a few minutes.
Oh, that sounds like a nice idea. She leans against Hamus's arm.
Hamish, perhaps a gentleman would assist this young lady to get somewhere where she can get some rest.
I'm sure I could manage that.
If Tilda rolls any harder, she's actually going to have them detach and come out round her back.
So yes.
Okay, so yes, Hamus and Tilda can vanish up.
That's
I
Hamus
think
and
those
Tilda.
ones are missing a trick, to be honest.
Oh, sorry, Helmus and Marion even, not Helmus and Tilda. It's a very different take.
If you were making nice to me, I wouldn't leave you alone.
Okay, so yeah, Hamus and Marion can vanish off to the room that Hamus paid for.
Indeedy.
And we will draw a veil over that, but bear in mind there's no lock on the door.
Probably would have been cheaper to go to the Privates Club, but we got some information.
I've seen how much prostitutes cost in this game. No, it wouldn't. It really, really wouldn't. I think you're looking at 90 odd crowns.
Oh my word.
An hour.
Oh my word.
12 per hour.
Is it 12 per hour?
It's on the page, yeah.
Who was I looking at who was 90?
Don't know.
Clearly someone very high class.
Well, yeah. You know how it goes. You pay more for the experienced craftsman.
Oh my.
So, yes. So while Hamus goes off to earn himself a card, Marion sighs.
Tilda.
Sorry, Tilda, even, sorry. Sighs. Look, I don't want to tell you your business, but just tell your friend to be a bit careful.
Why so?
Well, she's a popular girl. People like her. And some of the people who like her have knives. And she doesn't realise that they like her necessarily, if you see what I mean. She's fairly indiscriminate about who she likes.
Does she have a lover at the moment that we would need to worry about?
That's a complicated question, but
I was afraid that would be the answer.
well, there's Thomas. He's been sniffing around a bit. To my knowledge, he's not got anywhere yet. But the thing is, she's a friendly girl, and you know, some people take smiles the wrong way.
Oh, well, that a smile could just be a smile.
You passed him on the way in, by the way.
One of the...
Yeah, he's the taller one. He's the taller one missing one of the front teeth.
I remember him, yes.
Yeah, he seems convinced that he's got more of a chance than he has. If you see what I mean.
I do see, yes.
Yeah, just you know, like I said, tell your friend to be careful. We don't need anybody else dying.
Something we could have done to know a little earlier, but we will cope.
To be honest, I couldn't think of a polite way of saying it earlier.
I'm not worried. I've got a 12 base impact of paranoia.
This is it, you see. They actually aren't particularly... They're not created using the PC scale, let's put it that way. You're good, as far as that goes.
So, Miriam did all the talking.
She
What
does
is
that a
your
lot.
perception on how things are here? How safe are we here if we look for work?
I wouldn't recommend staying here long term. Marion, she's from a naval family. And, you know, there's always jobs for sailors, one reason or another. My family, we came from the military. We fought. And, yeah, you got to see which way the wind's blowing, basically. I don't think this place is going to be as safe as it is for much longer, but I'm trying to persuade her to move with me. We make a good team.
What is it? What is it you do? You mentioned clothes. Are you a seamstress?
Yeah. She specialises in ladies' dresses. I specialises in gentlemen's uniforms. Between the two of us...
A good working.
I keep telling her there's more business either joining up with one of the army units, because then at least we'd have a reliable source of income. Everyone needs clothes, or needs their clothes mended. Or, you know, we head south down to the capital. But either way, I think this place is it's gonna get swept under, I reckon.
Is there a dangerous undercurrent against what is happening?
It's more that the army's going through, and once they go through and out, then you're gonna have civilians storming up from the south to this delightful place. But they're going to colonise it. And I just don't see it ending well, you know. I think they're going to want to move in, and that means everybody who's not them is going to need to move out.
I see.
I think it'll be okay while the armies are here, but as they push up, I think it's going to turn bad. And there's all those bandits to the south, and yeah, don't want them taken over. If nothing else, I don't think they need uniforms.
But they would need clothes of some sort.
On the other hand, I have no desire to get forced to work somewhere far less nice than the Privates Club. And it strikes me as that's the sort of thing that they want their girls to do.
Did you and Miriam board at the Privates Club, or?
No. We have a room above our shop. No.
It strikes me that Miriam may not be capable of returning. She seems a little.
Well, I'm anticipating a trek home on my own.
Is that safe?
It's not long as a walk goes, but I wouldn't necessarily turn down an escort, and just an escort, mind.
Of course.
Especially if some of the lads are right, and well, if the drowners aren't happy.
The drowners would come into town. I heard that there were some in the river.
Well, I didn't think there were any round here, but well, that's what got Miss Arian.
Oh, it was a drowner.
I like it was.
Turned up looking like she'd been chewed on, head all smashed in. It was nasty business. And, ever since then, yeah, there's been rumours, weird splashes in the creek. It's not necessarily safe. Not as safe as it could be.
I would, of course, escort you to your door.
Well, you're a gentleman. I'm not so sure about your friend, but
his heart is good.
I hate to have to tell you, but I don't think it's his heart she's interested in. So, yeah, you can have an actually remarkably reasonable evening with Tilda, who clearly has no interest in you whatsoever.
Which is absolutely fine, because someone that's not got an interest in you can actually have a reasonable conversation and find out a bucket load of information.
Yep. Is there anything else you would like to grill her about before the evening draws to a close?
Just any notable personalities other than Milgram.
Okay. So yeah, she will basically give you the rundown on the bartender, who is a bit of a social hub these days. He's only been in town about 6 months, but he bought the inn wholesale. Just came in, paid cash, and has a brewer, an actual brewery. Doesn't have to buy beer in a shed out back. His name's Beltran Darien. Dwarves have weird names, as she puts it. You've got the guy in charge, who goes by the moniker Baron Kelsis.
Yep. Came out from down south.
Yep. And she will give you a rundown. There are a couple of local caravan merchants who they themselves tend to centre around the town. Although they don't make it their permanent residence, they come through enough that they have homes here.
Yeah.
And the biggest house, aside from Kelsis, is owned by Delgrin, which is a former manor house just outside town. She can give you directions there if you're still looking for work.
Yes, please, yes, because I'm still planning to go around there and...
Yeah. They're trying to put together a merchant council.
Oh, no,
I
that's
heard tell.
interesting.
Well, a couple of wives came in for new dresses for this party, which is bad taste. She's not been dead long. I know it's supposed to be a celebration for her, but, it still seems a bit soon.
You think it may be a celebration more for him?
I think he didn't have much in the way of his own money, is what I think. and yet he's now apparently going to make some big donation to Kelsis to, how did he put it? To finance the creation of a merchant guild in town. Which seems a bit unlikely to me, because there's only like 4 merchants, and that seems a bit dodgy. But either way, he's going to get, there's going to be presents given.
Interesting.
And there's going to be food and drink, so frankly, anything, bright and nice is going to be welcome in this day and age.
How would one get an invite? It seems like he's having a party to celebrate his wife's life. But I haven't seen much around town aside from what you tell me of maybe Beltrin here and Baron Kelsis, who might be of the like to attend.
Well, it's not like there's some wild number of local nobles, So I think, to be honest, it's anyone who has a nice pair of trousers.
I see.
And ideally something pretty on their arm. He's not being particularly discriminate. The merchants are going, but I think the rest is just to, show numbers, make it look good.
What if they've got a nice pair of arms and something pretty on their trousers?
Sorry, no.
Are you and Marion going?
Marion will probably find someone to take. I wasn't, but I could be persuaded. I'm as susceptible to a decent roast as any.
And a party is always fun.
It's always worth looking, because if nothing else, you can keep an eye on who's going to need new clothes soon. Particularly if fights break out. Then you know where the mending needs to be done. It's a growth industry.
Ingenious. You clearly have a merchant's mind.
Keep it in the jar at home, don't I? Right. So.
I will, as previously advertised, when time comes, escort young Tilda home.
Okay.
Or to where she tells me at least her home is.
Yeah.
She may be lying, I have no idea.
She will lead you along basically the town that clusters around the marketplace. But there are a couple of roads where there are dwellings and the whole semi-commercial, obviously combination residential commercial shops.
Yep.
You've got the chandler, you've got a couple of you've got a baker, you've got an actual honest to god butcher, judging by the signage. And she leads you down towards the river where her shop and home is located. And I ask you to make me an awareness check.
Ooh. Right. Awareness is intelligence and awareness. Which gives me a whopping... Oh god, I can't do maths. Yes, I can. 18.
Okay. You needed 15.
Cool.
As you're headed down, basically there's a slight uprise and then slopes down towards the river, which is a river at this point. There's a bridge maybe 50 feet past her house. The river is maybe 10 feet wide tops, but there are points where it narrows down to could hop across it quite happily. I wouldn't try 10 feet without a run up. You hear a splash.
Oh god.
Wacko.
She stiffens. Yeah. She stiffens and peers into the darkness. And although she clearly has no interest in you whatsoever, you feel her hand tighten on your arm.
How far from your abode are we?
Just over there. Let's get inside.
Yes, let's.
Okay.
You lead the way, I'll stay close. As we
good.
shuffle along, I'll draw my dagger from my belt.
Okay. She picks up her pace and makes it to the front door. Takes a moment to light the lantern directly outside the front door. Apparently they don't like fire. Oh. I thought light might help. And then uses a large and clumsy looking steel key, iron key, sorry, to actually unlock the door.
Okay, well, while she's looking at the door, I'm not actually, for once, I'm not paying attention to the door lock. I'm looking what's behind us.
Okay.
Because we've got light now, she's lit the lamp.
Yep. Looking out with the light behind you, make me another awareness check, please. And you need 15s.
Which is exactly what I get.
Right. At the edge of town, and at the edge, in fact, of the lamplight's kind of extreme glow, you see a figure.
What sort of figure?
Reasonably tall, and either with some grossly misshapen head or with a hood. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
As you look, the figure starts, runs behind a tree, and you lose sight of him in the gathering darkness. Or it.
How much do I know about drowners?
That would be monster lore.
That would be monster lore. So, it's a skill you don't have.
So just a roll against the...
Yep, just roll against intelligence, please.
Intelligence, okay. That would be 14.
Right. So... Oh, it's so annoying when you're zipping through and you suddenly realise you've just gone straight past the page you need.
The irony of it is that during the time that you were off looking for a fight, I had the opportunity to write my weapon stats onto my character sheet. The guy who's not there to use them.
Right. Commoner superstition... Oh, you needed 15s.
I had a feeling.
You needed 15s, unfortunately. You know very little about drowners. You've never encountered one personally. You don't know anyone who's done it in person. You know drowner brain stew tastes nice. But you've never actually had it.
Okay.
It's quite a popular dish, but very, very, very difficult to get hold of. And apparently an aphrodisiac.
Doesn't seem that there's much need of it in this town.
To be fair, it's a poor town. There's a lot of soldiers and there's not a lot to do. That's a recipe, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
So, as the dark figure goes bounding off, and Hamus and Merian get better acquainted.
Miss Tilda, what do you know of these drowners?
Well, I know what everybody knows, she says, making an education roll. Which is indeed under intelligence.
I know you need to roll 15 in order to know much about them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, bloody hell. She has all the basic education in the world. Well, I know that what happens when an evil bastard drowns in a river. Or the sea. You can get them in the sea as well. Then they come back as a drowner.
What do they look like?
Well, ooh,
Excuse my dog.
you see, they look. Unfortunately, I'm going to show stream this, not you. They look like, I don't know, scaly babies with big pointy ears.
Scaly babies with big pointy.
They've got the big heads, like a really old man who's lost all his hair, or an angry baby, on sort of skinny bodies. But
Are they tall, short?
people-sized. Like I said, I've only been told about them. I've never actually seen one person, but I've seen
Get past
pictures.
the Hellhound in the first Witcher game, and you'll know far more than you ever wanted to about drowners in no time at all.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Drowners are a really common menace.
I'm guessing lots of evil people drown.
Only so. But it doesn't seem to, as I can tell anyway, it doesn't seem to be that one drowning makes one drowner. You see what I mean?
One drowning makes a nest.
It's more that one drowning makes the right environment for drowners. Seems to be the way it works.
You have the thing that basically the knowledge you get from commoner superstition is commoner superstition.
Yeah.
What I like about this bestiary is it lists Witcher knowledge as well.
That's nice.
So you've got the superstition, and then you've got
cool.
what the actual scientific analysis. So the common superstition is that drowners are what happens when somebody evil dies in water.
Yeah, which is all I need to know.
Yep, which is exactly it.
So, Miss Tilda, I saw something in the edge of the light from your lamp.
Oh. You need to get undercover as soon as. I'm behind my door soon.
I realise this is impolite, but might I rest on your floor this eve?
No, but I've got a couch I use for customers. Can even do you a spare quilt, because Marian's not using hers.
If it is no bother for you, I would appreciate it.
You actually
I believe
saw
safer
something.
than returning to the inn alone, yes.
Okay.
It was tall. The head was misshapen, perhaps. I could not see it clearly, but it was there.
Yeah. Well, better safe than sorry. And you stay on the couch.
My word.
Okay. She'll let you in and firmly lock the door behind you both. And as the night progresses, I think we will call it there, because it's kicking on for half 10.
Oh, so it is.
That does seem like a reasonable place to, as the first night draws to a close. So does the first session.
Yep.
Yes, seems quite reasonable. Thank you very much, Drew.
That's all right.
And I will be
quite
intrigued
enjoyable.
to find out when next we play whether the menace in this town is actually drowners, or whether the there are drowners, but essentially,
Yep.
whether the drowners are a cover for murder. Because I think if this guy offered his wife, we need to investigate that. Because if we can find proof of that, we can blackmail him.
Exactly. So I wasn't going to announce that and give the info to riff off, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's what we're looking for here, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely.
You see, I knew I could rely on you guys if presented with situation and people to bounce off.
Absolutely.
We'll
Well, that's
definitely
how
come up with
Hamish
some
spent his
bizarre
night, certainly
conspiracy
bouncing off a
theories.
person.
Yes. I did like the tactic in GURPS of giving you guys news stories and things, some of which may or may not be relevant.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah. The
This
Witcher
is why
games
I
do.
resurrected it for our so far failed attempt at a hero system
Yeah.
champions game. And the problem is now that my headlines are over a year old because it hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Yeah.
And I need to rethink what I'm doing with that.
Understandable.
But I liked the idea because we created a setting that was all sort of to quickly summarize it. We basically had the entire superhero world shut down after 9/11. At which point now we've got the whole enhanced humans are registered and can't they can use their powers, but they're being watched. They can't just be a vigilante superhero type, but they are still using their powers, doing things like knocking down buildings if they're working demolitions, that kind of stuff. But it's all very much above board and registered and carefully monitored, so no supers, which is a really interesting setting, but actually requires a bit more work on running scenarios than I was anticipating. Not that I was anticipating, it's what I wanted, but than I was ready for at the same time as trying to get my head around the way the hero system works.
Fair enough.
So I'm thinking what I will probably do, as I mentioned in Discord, is try and sort out some retro one-shots in the same setting, set in the 90s before it all went wrong, when there were still people running around with capes saving the day, to learn the system.
Okay.
And that will then provide some backdrop to having another go at a later date at actually playing set now with a rather darker version of the world.
It works for me.
Cool.
On the subject of dark versions of the world, anybody in the United Kingdom has a very small amount of time still to go to Amazon.co.uk and buy the Kindle versions of almost everything ever written by Joe Abercrombie. Certainly all of his First Law World, the First Law trilogy and then the First Law World trilogy are all available at 99p each on Kindle for today only. And they're particularly appropriate to recommend to anybody who likes The Witcher, because they are grimdark books. Very much not suitable for work.
My way there after the stream.
But well worth reading, and I can actually recommend the Audible version as well, the read by Stephen Pacey.
Also worth pointing out, also worth pointing out that if you get the Kindle version, the Audibles are, I think, $5.99 each. So even if you don't have an Audible sub, you get a discount.
Yes, it works out cheaper than a monthly sub to get one book done that way. If they're on the 99p at the time, and what was £6 for So £7 as opposed to $7.99 for a sub. So it's cheaper than one month's worth of sub to get a book in Audible.
Right. So I hope you have enjoyed doing absolutely nothing except sitting in the bar all evening.
It's all the best.
I enjoyed getting to know my character.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I've enjoyed getting to know half of my character.
I have exported the new version of the character sheet.
Okay.
Which has the adjusted skills slightly lower on those two skills, and with charisma added it.
Yeah.
I've also taken off the money that I've spent today.
Okay.
And put in the stats for my weapons.
Okay.
And I've re-exported that to Linda Share.
Yeah. I have an alternate character sheet to send you again with a few adjustments.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I don't mind. You can do that for this session. That's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. You've got a better idea now of how the system plays out, how it works. You just haven't had any fights yet. But you might have some. You never know. I mean, you could have had one. You could have gone running down to the river on your own in the dark, not knowing the lie of the land.
In the dark, don't know the town. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that with a character that isn't an outright fighter.
You see, I could give you that situation, and I know you weren't going to hurl yourself to death.
Actually not bad in a fight. His small blades, so with his stiletto, including the weapon accuracy, in fact, with his stiletto, he comes in at a base 14.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It is.
You get +2 weapon accuracy on a stiletto. It's part of the reason they're expensive, is they're accurate. They're good weapons.
It is.
I think when it comes to fights, you're more likely to find my character finding the way to the roof and running across the roofs.
Yeah.
I mean,
give me the choice, I'll take everybody out with my throwing knives before they get near me. But throwing knives only do a d6 damage, so I don't know. That's very likely.
To be fair,
I don't have a whole heap of strength, so I'm only doing that d6 damage anyway.
To be fair, with +5 to his small blades, you'd come out as a 14 base anyway.
Yeah, but when the other guy hits, I've got a very, very flimsy body.
Yes, you really have to not get hit.
Yeah,
It's rule 1, don't die.
He's only got to get lucky once. I've got to get lucky a bunch of times.
Yeah. So yeah.
I did put some points into the dodge skill as well.
Yeah.
I think I possibly did.
So this is why...
Yeah, I've got a base 12 in dodge.
Yeah,
well.
this is why I thought a role-playing based scenario with possible investigation, maybe.
I don't mind the odd scuffle in a back alley and that kind of thing, but that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be chasing down drowners and stuff.
We're certainly not about to go out and take on the army or anything equally ridiculous.
No. And monsters are going to be few and far between, I feel. They're going to be things to be avoided.
But I liked the way they were handled today, because that's very much, it's a part of the setting that things like drowners are out there. They're a part of the folklore. They exist on the edges of towns. Even if you don't go hunting them, you're going to see them in situations where they're likely to be around.
And they can be fought off.
Yeah.
This isn't...
Yeah, you can scare them off without having to actually kill them, can't you?
The world says only a witcher can use a silver sword to kill monsters. However, very few things are completely invulnerable to steel.
Yeah, they just are easier to kill with
They
silver.
are easier to kill with silver. So that's worth... It's one of those things, it's worth keeping in the back of your head. You know, very little is unkillable. It's just a damn sight easier if you're a witcher.
Which we are not.
Which you're
Nor
not.
will we ever be for obvious reasons.
No, because you've passed puberty now, so you can't go through the trial of the grasses and you can't become mutants. We can actually end up as a mutant, but that requires a mage, a mutagen, and a really good roll not to die. And it gets you no abilities, it just gets you the mutation, the physical mutation.
So what's the point?
A mage, the mutagen, and the wardrobe. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically, witchers, once they become adults, can carry on mutating themselves to a limited degree, using specially prepared body parts from monsters. They can only do it for 2 additional mutations, but basically it gives them additional abilities. Which is kind of cool, and lets you customise your witcher past its base abilities. The thing is, if a human tries to use them, who isn't prepared and trained and has the appropriate toughness from having been tortured as a child with mutagenic drugs, essentially, with the aid of a mage, people keep trying to use mutagens on the, I can gain the ability to breathe underwater or whatever, you know, regenerate or bleed acid or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. Except it doesn't work. It really doesn't.
And they end up either killing themselves or going through all that crap for nothing.
Yes. You end up, growing feathers or something, but no extra abilities or anything. They're just a freak and, hated by all. And that's one of the nicer ones.
Wow.
I'd like to see secondary mutation bodily fluids become green. That's totally random. No benefit whatsoever. It's just that's what happens if you're not a witcher and you take this one on.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Some of them are horrible, but yeah. So yes, it's going to be interesting running this without access to Witcher stuff.
It's an interesting setting to play in.
It is.
Without needing to play witches.
It is. And,
I'm enjoying this so far. Yep. Thank you very much.
As am I, yes. And I can see now why you've, in the past, made the similarities to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about the Witcher stuff that always makes me think Warhammer. It's that, maybe it's the dirty, mud-covered end of medieval that doesn't tend... Most D&D is remarkably shiny. There's very little in the way of mud and filth in D&D, and Witcher and Warhammer tend to actually remember the mud and filth.
Yeah.
And it's Middle Ages, to be honest. It's got that tech level. It's not just the really primitive end of things, which D&D likes to pretend it is, but
Yeah,
obviously
D&D is
can't be.
weird because D&D goes for culturally around 1100 and technologically frequently around 1600. Because you've got people with an early medieval culture wielding guns these days.
Yeah.
It's an odd mix.
Glazed windows.
Glazed windows are a standard. People taking baths, or if you watch Critical Role, showers. They
Yes.
regularly showered in the first season of Critical Role. I don't know if they're still doing it in season 2.
I
But
hadn't
in
picked
season 1,
up
they
on that.
regularly
Yeah.
showered
Yeah.
all the time.
I hadn't picked up on that.
And it's not the only actual play series that I've come across that in, that people forget and their characters go for showers.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to mentally edit that too. Somebody tipped a bucket over my head.
You can go with the whole pumping aspect and, channels of water and things, but frankly, unless you live near a waterfall, it's unlikely to happen. So, we will carry this on next week, where you may encounter the plot, or you may just get to know the townsfolk some more. It's hard to tell.
There's a plot?
There is actually a plot, I promise.
Cool. Well, I think I avoided the plot tonight because that's the sound whatever was out there would have made when it hit me.
Yeah.
Plot splash. Yeah.
Precisely.
Probably. And then new characters, please. So yeah, I will leave it there, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you are getting on with your guys, and I will see you guys next week.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you and
Good
good night.
night.